Yeah, if you want to get that, that'd be great. And the audio is on.
Great. All right.
Lower the lights a little bit so that we can see the screen.
I have no battery power? Oh.
All right. How you guys doing this afternoon? Yeah. All right. Cool. Get this. All right. A little technical setup here. All right. So hello and welcome to my panel, the early days of Sonic ROM hacking. I'll be talking about the creation of the Sonic Stuff Research Group, particularly what inspired me to create the group, the technical challenges I overcame, and its continued legacy, and how I got these ears. Oh, okay. Looks like it's up there. All right. Just a disclaimer here. Please note that this lecture is a work in progress. I've done my best to present information as accurate as possible, so some details may have been stated incorrectly or omitted erroneously, so feel free to contact me with corrections. I should have said in the previous slide, where's the page up key? Yeah, this is my first public appearance, and this is the debut of this talk, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Well, that's right.
Yourself up.
All right, cool.
I assume you're on like Twitter and stuff?
No, actually, I'm not.
He's wise.
I'm quite private here. All right, so page down here. Okay, so let's do a familiarity check here. So, can you do me a favor? If you're familiar with the character Sonic the Hedgehog, can you please clap your hands? Can you please clap your hands like this is the best time you've had all month? I'm trying to steal away competition for the panel next door. All right, cool. So if you're familiar with the game Sonic Mania, clap your hands. Sure. There's a copy up here for sale for actually you can go downstairs, 1999. All right, and the big one, clap if you're familiar with the Sonic Stuff Research Group. That's actually more than I thought. Okay, I mean, familiar, not heard of. Familiar with, not like you've heard of it. I mean, I did see the graphic in the previous slide. So, okay, well, we'll get into that here. All right, so SSRG, oh, yeah. Yeah, I should have played that commercial. So what's the catalyst for me doing this talk? So I've been kicking around the idea of doing this talk. And, oh, we got Mr. Banana here. Awesome. Now we got it. Yeah, now we're awesome. Yeah.
A little closer to you.
Okay. Okay, now it's business here. We got the big guys here. Okay, good. See, it worked. So, oh gosh. Messing up here. This is the touchpad here screwing me up here. So, what was the catalyst? So I've talked to some people about doing this talk before, and I thought maybe people know the history of it. And then the catalyst stemmed from a video on YouTube talking about the Sonic & Knuckles lock-on technology. The videos used information graphics from a hacking guy I wrote years prior, but the video failed to credit me or the group that I used to run, namely the Sonic Stuff Research Group. In fact, at the end of the video, they credited some other guy whom I've never heard of. I'm like what's going on here? So I talked to the video producer, and he said that he's never heard of the Sonic Stuff Research Group or any of our members. But he did say he came across the name Simon Y. ROM during his research. I'm like, all right, well. Then I asked him, like, are you aware of Stealth and Taxman and the guys who developed Sonic Mania? He says, no, he wasn't aware of their stories. I'm like, well, that's when I realized to me the history of SSRG is, and its contributions to the wrong hacking community were starting to fade away from people's memories. So that's been the catalyst for me to do this talk. So who am I? My name is Andrew Wolan. I was the creator or sponsor of various popular gaming websites, gaming-themed websites in the 90s and 2000s. Yep, started the Emulation Zone back in 1996. Yes. Way back, that's right.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. The band knows me. Cool. I branched out to cover other gaming and console emulation-themed projects like ROM hacks and tools, video game fan sites, fan-made and homebrewed games, site that talked about the gaming news industry. We actually had our own search engine, which at the time was unique until Google came around. We had our own radio network and more. And these are some of the sites, or some of the sites we worked on, other than Emulation Zone, Sonic HQ, TSSE, Emulinks, Sonic Roboblast, Sonic HQ, and my softball site, which for some reason people talk about, even though it's not gaming related. So it's sports, but so yeah, the big one is the Sonic Stuff Research Group, which is the one I'm most well known for, being the creator and the co-founder. So, what is the Sonic Stuff Research Group? Let's talk about some of our big accomplishments. I had trouble trying to figure out what's a good way of talking about this without spending like a half hour and going all the details. So I wrote like a little elevator pitch, so I'll read it here. So, co-founded in the late 1990s by myself, Andrew Wolan, and future Sonic Mania developer Simon Stealth Tumley, the Sonic Stuff Research Group popularized hacking of old Sega Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog games by helping to expose the secrets contained within them. The site also helped make hacking of old games accessible to the mainstream audience and would be responsible for launching the modern Sonic ROM hacking scene. The site also popularized Sonic fan games, which led to the official release of the Sega game Sonic Mania, which was developed by fans who got their start at Sonic Stuff Research Group. It was also voted best Sonic the Hedgehog website in 1999, 2000, and 2001. And because of my early contributions, community leadership, and support, I've been recognized as the founding father of Sonic ROM hacking. Though I feel stepdad is a more appropriate term, I didn't invent Sonic ROM hacking. I adopted it, raised it, taught it my moral values, and then after I got older, it told me, "I'm not your real dad. You're not your real dad." Left, and it'd be nice to get a Christmas card once in a while, but I don't even get that. So is my life. And I think this all started up I-91 in Western Massachusetts.
Beautiful picture.
I stole that from someone. Wikipedia. Or,
that looks too nice to be certain parts of Western Mass.
That's actually,
Not your private shopper.
yeah, that's UMass Amherst in the top left. I can tell by the, some of the resident halls and the library. There's supposed to be a slide in the middle here, man. Yeah, I was going to say. Okay, so what is the Sonic ROM hacking community? All right, so it's devoted, it's a community devoted to uncovering secrets such as lost levels, unused characters, music, etc. in both released and unreleased games, press releases, and the development process when they created the game, and other sources. They also document technical details about the game and provide disassemblies, allowing others to create mods ranging from simple sprite swaps to new characters, new levels, new artwork, and even a new gameplay. The data collected is the culmination of contributions made by many, many, many people, not just a few people, and is fueled by the fact that the game itself is hidden with so many secrets that make it a fun, addictive, and technical treasure hunt. And the work has led to some incredible hacks. I don't have a slide on that. I should have done that, but. And you know where I'm from. But one point I want to make here is that while it might be easy to dismiss the early contributions as minor accomplishments compared to the hacks made today, they were the stepping stones that made more elaborate hacks possible. Furthermore, the community had to start somewhere, and SSRG was that starting point. So let's go back in time to where the story begins, back to the 90s, all right? So yes, the 90s. Technologically speaking, it was an exciting time. There was observable leaps in performance were being made yearly. If you were not paying attention, you could miss out. So, for example, in 1981, we had the blocky graphics of the Atari games, which led to 1991 the cartoon-like graphics in the Sega Genesis. And at the time, the TV show Reboot was kind of giving people the thoughts that, hey, maybe in 10 more years, we're going to get real-time 3D rendered graphics like in that TV show. So
it was an exciting time to watch these developments unfold.
The Sega versus Nintendo rivalry was at its peak. Nintendo had just found their 16-bit stride with the Super NES, while Sega had finally found their mascot with Sonic the Hedgehog. Next one. The internet would be unrecognizable to many users today. It was not as ubiquitous, and instead it was a new, mysterious, and inaccessible place to many, but we knew it would be the future sooner or later. And of course, Sega was busy confusing everybody with the term blast processing.
This is does.
That's right.
And high definition.
Yep.
Stereo sound. Try not to go bankrupt.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do now, yeah. Yeah. So some misconceptions. So the term blast processing was famously touted by the American Sonic 2 TV ad when the game was released. No one knew what it really meant, but we all wanted it. So as a budding computer geek at the time, that got me thinking. Now if Sonic 2 runs that fast on a $150 console, how much faster would it run on a modern PC costing 10 to 20 times as much? Of course, I was oblivious to all the computer architectural differences, but I was still curious. So one day, a neighborhood friend of mine showed me ads in a magazine. I forgot where he found them, but there was something called the Super Magic Drive and the Super Wild Card. They allowed you to back up a game cartridge to a floppy disk, and the device was pretty expensive. I think it was like $600. I'm just like, well, it costs as much as a freaking modest game library. Why would you want to buy this? But it did get me thinking, like, if the game could be copied to a floppy disk, does it mean you could play the game on a PC? Maybe. And then after talking about it, we assumed that the software to play these games, aka the emulators, that can be used to run card images not only existed, but they were developed by Sega and Nintendo for game development purposes. And such software was only accessible to elite members of underground communities. This is the 90s, guys. It was a different time. So meaning you get to know someone to get a copy. And what I did is I checked all the BBSs in my area. If you know what that is, I'll get to that in a second. And the closest I got was to some BBS that claimed to have disk images for the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. And the guy said I wasn't elite enough to join, and that's as far as I got. So, oh boy, he probably feels stupid now. And last point I want to make was keep in mind, like I said, the internet as we know it today did not exist. It was not easy to find answers to seemingly easy questions. There was no Google, pretty much. Hell, there was no search engines back then. And as a kid in the early 90s, it was hard to find information on niche subjects unless you had connections. So that made finding answers to these kind of things a lot harder. And so, as we mentioned about BBSs, prior to the internet, the only real source of information that was at least accessible to me were, at the time, were forums on local BBSs. So, what is a BBS? Short definition, it's a dial-up server where users using a terminal program can share files, read bulletins, exchange messages, even chat with other users directly. It was a multi-node BBS. Some were small operations, 1 or 2, maybe 4 nodes, but many allowed messages to be exchanged between BBSs. They had like a clever messaging system between them. Some were subscription-based, things like AOL and Prodigy. Some were, and the local ones were free. And there were some niche ones, niche-based ones that had more focused content and some they interest you. And I found one for like Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm like, I don't think it's not the kind of site I'm looking for here.
When they were interlinked to things like FidoNet, which was global, it was usually overnight. You'd wait.
Yeah, that's right. It was a delay.
Yeah, right. The transfer was.
That's a good point.
Slow.
This is like the predecessor to Discord, basically. Yeah.
Discord, I would say, is more of a predecessor to Internet Relay Chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, I would say Discord kind of copied the idea of Internet Relay Chat, but just made it more.
It's more like IRC.
Yeah.
Like a social network. Yeah.
I was going to say, speaking of Discord, I'm in the Sonic Retro Discord right now, and they say hi.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, tell them, what's up?
Yeah. Let them know.
Tell them, why'd you come to the retro world? Missing on all the fun. Let's see. Oh, send them a picture of my ears, see if they like it.
Yeah, I already said it.
Okay, cool. I want to hear what they say about that. Now, as a teen, I used to frequent these, as I said, I used to frequent these local BBSs, and I thought they were pretty cool. And I had the crazy desire to run my own BBS one day. But there was a problem. You know, the cost of running one was just, it was really cost prohibitive. First of all, you have to have a dedicated PC to act as a BBS server. You need a dedicated phone line for people to call you in, call you in on. You can only serve one person per phone line at a time, and it was typically limited to people within a calling range. But I kind of kept that dream in my back pocket. It's like maybe I'll do this one day. Then came the internet. So in the mid-90s, dial-up internet access had gained mainstream appeal. It gave the general public access to more information than BBSes. This in turn allowed me to pursue my questions on console emulation and discover the console emulation community. And many ISPs offered free web hosting as part of their internet access package. And I quickly realized the implications of this. So for example, once you uploaded a website, once a website was uploaded, it could run on a remote server and not on my PC. So there was no need to have a dedicated computer to act as a server. Could serve multiple people at once from anywhere around the globe. At that time, that was mind-blowing, mind you. Was limited to how much data I could post at a time, like tens of megabytes versus hundreds or even gigabytes if you had your own local BBS. But the bandwidth was much higher, I think kilobits versus possibly megabits. And some ISPs had generous traffic or space quotas or did not strictly enforce their quotas, which allowed for growth on a budget. And the web, you went from, with BBS, it was a text-based interface. But with the web, it was a graphical interface. So that was a big leap forward. So, in other words, it addressed all the issues I had with hosting a BBS. So maybe I should maybe I should build a website one day instead of a BBS. Then came the motivation. So with the web becoming the next thing, a group of college buddies of mine, we made a friendly bet. No cash bet. I should probably mention that. And the bet was to see who can come up with the best website. It was my friends Dan Chandler, Tom Connery, and Mike Eager. The contest was, for me, was significant because it encouraged me not only to start a website, but one that was unique enough to actually win this contest. I already hit the button, all right. So now I knew I wanted to create a website, but I wanted to cover a subject that others were not doing at the time, or not well. Something unique that would be a contribution to the growing web. So I settled on two ideas. The first was Emulation Zone. A console emulation website that was suited for a general audience. I did not know enough about computer hardware or programming to understand how emulation worked, but I was still curious to learn more about it. And the other one was Andy's Sonic the Hedgehog webpage, My Way, a Sonic the Hedgehog fan site that focused on the games themselves and not on fan material. For some reason, people have mislabeled this as Andy's Hacking Station, which they're getting confused with the site Tom's Hacking Station, so that's a bit of a little clarity there. And both of these sites kicked off in the summer of 1996. All right. We're actually going pretty quick here, so I'll slow it down a little bit. Any questions before I continue? I went through a lot pretty quickly.
So there are no other similar websites?
There were Sonic the Hedgehog fan sites, but they focused more on fan fiction, fan art. None of them were talking. There was some talking about the games, but I'll mention here that none of them really talked about like the oddities and the secrets of the game. That was like a taboo subject for some weird reason at the time. I guess maybe it was just too technical for people at the time.
Before the days of the cutting room floor and stuff.
Oh yeah, this is yeah. We're talking 1996. I started this 25 years ago, and this is unfortunate, but Retro World was supposed to happen in August. That would have been I was going to ask to have it on Sunday, August 28th, which would have been the 25th anniversary, which would have been that would have been like kick ass, but that's right. Wah wah. All right, so the birth of the Sonic Stuff subsection. So after scratching my itch and seeing how Sonic would play on the PC, by playing around with the console emulation community, I turned my attention to the Sonic and Knuckles lock-on technology gimmick. After obtaining ROM images of Sonic and Knuckles in Sonic 3, I figured out how to merge the cartridges together and wrote a document about it named the Sonic and Knuckles Lock-on Technology Guide. The guide was published, I published it on Emulation Zone under the subsection called Sonic Stuff, and this would end up being the community's first Sonic ROM hacking guide. And shortly afterwards, I became online friends with Stealth, aka Simon Tunley. He showed me a screenshot of what was now known as the hidden credit screen on the Sonic Presents screen on Sonic 1. The screenshot was shortly added to the growing Sonic Stuff subsection, which had then moved to its own section on Emulation Zone. And then we started talking about the oddities and secrets found in the Sonic the Hedgehog games. Now, a few years prior, I recall the conversation I had with a friend about some weird images that they found in Sonic CD, these two in the middle. I didn't think much about it at the time, but I did find it curious, and little did I know that was my first exposure to the secret sound within the Sonic the Hedgehog games. And after my conversation with Simon and having a recollection of stuff I heard in the past, that was when I realized that Sonic games were just packed with secrets and other fascinating oddities left over from development. I also realized that there was no one trying to document all this either, which presented an opportunity. And as I said earlier, for some reason, it was taboo to talk about this stuff. So at this point, my interest in Sonic games and console emulation merged, and I wanted to focus on digging into the games or hacking to them to unlock their secrets. My chief motivation was the fact that no one was doing it at the time. In fact, I was actually surprised that while other major game series had hacking communities and they had tools to edit their games, none had appeared for the Sonic games. For example, the Mario games had Mario Improvement. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It was like 97-ish. So let's take a step back here. Why was the site called Sonic Stuff? Can I come up with a better, more clever sounding name? Originally, after I created the Sonic & Knuckles hacking guide, I wanted to put all the Sonic the Hedgehog related content into its own subsection. So I had not only just the hacking guide, but I had some other stuff in there, Simon's screenshot, etc. But I had trouble coming up with a clever name. And then one evening, I saw a commercial for a mom and pop sports apparel store named Sports Stuff. I tried very hard to get a copy of this commercial. I even tracked the owners. The husband died, the wife is still alive, but she does not want to talk to me, but I talked to like a grandson, and he said they don't have any copies of the ad anymore. But it went something like this, like, all your favorite footwear from Nike, Reebok, New Balance, Adidas, hats and jerseys from your favorite teams, from Starter, New Era, and more. Sports Stuff, Summer Avenue, Springfield, located at the X. So after seeing their ad, I figured, well, if someone can name their sporting goods store Sports Stuff, then I can name my section Sonic Stuff. It was supposed to be a temporary name, but it stuck. One big secret that was starting to be discussed at the time was the possible existence of missing levels in Sonic 2. It was fueled by screenshots in gaming magazines of Sonic 2 before its release that showed images of an unknown level. The one at the top left. A hacker by the name of Tom Sonic figured out how to access the remnants of the level using a game cheat device, thus proving the existence of a level. Of course, graphics were garbled, but it was otherwise playable in many regards. And then sometime later, a fellow named Andrew Wolan came forward to announce that he actually had a Sonic 2 prototype cartridge that contained the missing level. So I invited him to join Sonic Stuff, and he did. And with the inclusion of both myself, Stealth, and Andrew Wolan, his site staff was starting to grow in size, I figured it was the appropriate time to rename the site to reflect all the growth, and thus Sonic Stuff was renamed to the Sonic Stuff Research Group. Water here. You up for the Philips CDI panel? You up for the Philips CDI panel? Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a little jokey kind of started here. So while Andrew Wolan's prototype proved the existence of the lost level, he didn't have a means of dumping the ROM image and distributing it publicly. Come on in if you guys want to. All right. Must be the years. A few months after Andre's announcements, a fellow by the name of Simon Y discovered a ROM image for the Sonic 2 prototype on a Chinese FTP server. It was the same as Andrew Wolan's, so it allowed fans to experience the lost levels for themselves. So after Simon's announcement, I went out of my way to ensure that Simon received credit for the discovery. And today the ROM image is now known as the Simon Y Sonic 2 beta ROM thanks to my actions. And it's one, if not the only prototype named after a person who was not associated with the development of the game. Now, in hindsight, it really should have been named the Dirk Y Sonic 2 beta ROM, because after all, Andrew Dirk is the only person to have a known copy, physical copy of the ROM, while Simon Y went out of his way to track down the ROM image and share it with everyone. And shortly after this, Simon Y joined the SSRG staff.
How many people were on the team at the time?
As of this point right here, when Simon joined, probably 5, 6, 7 around there. It was, yeah, I'll get to that in a second about the growth.
Was it ever figured out what revision the Simon Y round was? Because I know there was like a bunch of Sonic 2 prototypes that dumped online by Hidden Palace, so.
Yeah, so what happened there was, I was told that there was actually a file server at Sega where they're keeping old prototypes, and someone actually tried to get access to it, but he was told, it's forbidden, you can't like share that material. So I knew of the existence of it, but no one had access to it until obviously someone at Sonic Retro got a copy of that. There's a whole bunch of them. I think they said that his copy it's not the first one, but it's definitely not the last one. It's somewhere.
Well, because if you start the game, it starts at Aquatic Ruin, not at Emerald Hill. So I would assume that was for probably for a preview event.
Might have. Oh yeah, for the that's right. Yeah, I think it was for the cartridge was supposedly for a game expo, and then someone swiped it and.
Yeah, because Yuji Naka brought it up in an interview saying, "Oh, someone stole the cartridge and we couldn't find it." So.
I mean, I'm not sure if what Andre Dirk has is the actual one, or if it was cloned and he has like a pirate copy that was sold in stores or something. But they were the same copy more or less, so. It was enough to satisfy, at the time it was enough to satisfy everyone's curiosity, so. And don't forget those other ones, they weren't circulating, whereas.
Yeah, no, they were like just regular prototypes.
Yeah. Okay, so outside of digital electronics, I was not well versed on low-level computer hardware, at least at the time, low-level computer hardware architecture, nor have I done any assembly-level programming. Therefore, I had little knowledge on how to hack ROM images myself. But I was willing to learn, and I knew that I would need to learn more about it if I wanted the site to continue to grow. So what was the solution? Surround myself with people knowledgeable about ROM hacking. I would go out and recruit the best ROM hackers I could find to join the group. But how would I go about to recruit them? It's not like I had a budget to pay them anything. So prior to SSRG's renaming, Emulation Zone underwent a heavy back-end transformation. It moved to its own domain name of emulationzone.org. And interesting story, we said that we were going to buy emulationzone.com, and some jackass bought that domain name. So we had to buy emulationzone.org. And we asked the guy, years later, can you buy it for him? He's like, yeah, you can buy it for $1,000. Like, how about $50? It's like, no. It's like, so if you go to emulationzone.com, it's still like, buy this site, great investment. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to freaking pay you any money for that. Huh?
It's probably worth much more than companycore.com.
I doubt it. I mean, there's so many emulation something domain names out there. It's like if you want to pay someone sitting a domain name, or just say superemulation.com or something strange like that. All right, so, and also we moved, so we got our domain name and we moved to a host on ZTNet, which was operated by Zach Williams. In fact, he's still our host to this day. The move would allow the site to grow in size, which was big. We outgrew like the tens of megabytes of disk space that I was using at the ISP, and had dedicated server resources if we needed them for whatever reason, and which we'd use for like running our radio network, and had the capacity to host other projects and websites, which at the time was a big deal. So to recruit talent, I leveraged what server resources I had and offered free web hosting, which again was a big deal back then. Now, as SSRG was growing, in the back of my mind, there was a set of standards which I had the site adhere to. It may not seem like much, but I feel these standards are what helped grow SSRG and recruit the best. In fact, the Sonic ROM hacking sites of today follow these more or less. So the first one is always credit the person who contributes a finding, i.e. give credit to where it's due. This stemmed from a class discussion I had in academia. I can cite my professor's name here, let's see. Professor James Allen. He knows who I am. Just say wacko, he'd be like, oh yeah, I remember him. What do you do again? Number 2, collect all findings into some kind of formal and shareable documentation form. Instead of having information scattered on multiple websites, consolidate them into one formal document or website to make it easier to find and share the information. It was ambitious in an era before wikis or any web-based office applications, and required a lot of manual work to sync everything together. Number 3, document how certain hacks were performed so others could learn from them and recreate them. As I said before, I wanted to learn how to hack ROM images, but I didn't really know how. The next best thing was to surround myself with knowledgeable people and learn from them. And like for example, like Tom Sonic, when he started coming up with his pages, I said, can you explain how you found the hidden palette zone and the sales release of Sonic 2? And he said, okay, I'll document that. Then he had other stuff. I said, yeah, can you explain a little bit more? And if you read some of his old sites, he said, yeah, if you do this, you can make this change to a level, do this. So it basically made this more accessible to the general public, which is my next point here. Make context accessible to the public at large. Discoveries and other information were not going to be reserved to elite hackers. They were for everyone. And my idea more or less was to follow the mantra that both Mark Anderson, who he is, creator of the web browsers, and the public, they had for the internet in the 90s. The 60s was about free love. The 90s was about free information. That's really what it was, and kind of got lost with .coms and all that. And another thing I want to mention is I want to make sure the language used should make it coherent for most audiences to understand. And I really feel that these standards allowed SSRG to grow in popularity. It also helped attract numerous talented hackers and programmers to the team. It helped us attract the best. So on screen is a list of hackers that I recruited for the site. Many would become up-and-coming stars in the community. The famous one is Taxman, aka Christian Whitehead. He started the Sonic CD beta page and worked on a game called Sonic Retro. And the other big name is Tom Sonic, who I kind of hinted about, I mentioned earlier, whose early contribution helps kickstart the Sonic ROM hacking community. He was the one that came up with how to access the hidden level in Sonic 2. Any of those names look familiar?
Yeah. Actually.
Which ones are the most familiar, out of curiosity?
Christian Whitehead.
Oh, here.
That one sticks out immediately.
Yeah.
Gerbil.
Gerbil, really?
Yeah.
What did he do?
He also did a lot of Sonic ROM hacks, but for the most part, he's been around in the community.
Sonic Hacking Pro is?
Yeah. He's also in Retro, obviously also in SSRG, so he's all over the place.
Yeah, he's still active.
Ezreal's doing the Delta 40 Meg with stringing together Sonic 2, 3, and Knuckles with some added levels.
Okay, yeah.
It's insane.
Now, will it work on actual hardware?
That's what he's working for, yeah.
Oh, okay, then that's pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I know it's been tested on like some emulators for consoles, and it's like that game did not play. So you gotta use King of Fusion, or obviously wait for the actual thing to be working on real hardware. So
Yeah. All right. Now, one day, one person on the team, Ryan Langley, he approached me about starting the Sonic Fan Games HQ, a website devoted to fan-made Sonic games. The site would tap into the growing interest in fan-made Sonic the Hedgehog games. It would now, to host it, would require a lot of disk space, it would create a lot of server traffic, but it would be unique. And I gave the okay because to me it was the next it was the natural, logical next step to the growth of SSRG in the community. And as you can imagine, the site ended up being one of the most bandwidth-heavy sites on the server, but it also proved to be very popular. The site's popularity will lead to SAGE, or the Sonic Amateur Games Expo, which is run by Ryan Bloom. It's a yearly event that features fan-made Sonic the Hedgehog games from fans of all levels of experience. And the big takeaway here is that the site was a starting point for some future game developers. As you can imagine, with all the stuff going on, the site exploded in popularity. It was some neat things to mention here. It was available in 5 languages, which at the time was very novel. Spanish mirror was done by Wiseman and Daniel. German mirror was done by Andrew Chandler. Italian mirror by Nimi, and French mirror by David de Klerk. I probably mispronounced his name there. And, oh yeah, we won the Best Sonic website for 3 years in a row, 1999, 2000, and 2001. Though having TSSC being one of our sponsored sites, I don't think there was any conflict of interest. So I'm top of the world, so why did I leave? So in the fall of 2001, with the site at the height of its popularity, I stepped away from SSRG and I handed it over to Stealth. So again, with the site doing so well, why did I leave? Well, for one, it was a lack of free time. I had just graduated college, began a career in my field, and was starting grad school. So I was not going to have the free time I needed to handle all the responsibilities. Another thing was becoming less fulfilling, was spending less time working on technical endeavors and more time on management, which was fine for me at first, but it was not something I wanted to do long term. And I also spent too much time mediating disputes, which I did not find rewarding, nor did I feel was a good use of my limited time. And okay, perhaps I could have worked through these issues. In fact, after I handed the site off, it did run into some trouble, so I came back and tried to restore order. But the following reason made me leave for good. A broken PowerPoint presentation. No. Relentless, obnoxious behavior of some people. I didn't have the time or the stomach to argue with people who wanted to be obnoxious and just flat out cruel to community members for their amusement. Now, as bad as they were, they still needed an audience to support what they were doing. Otherwise, it would just eventually fade away. And sadly, some community members actually defended their these obnoxious individuals' behavior and even aided in their activities, such as giving passwords to protected areas of SSRG and other websites, reinstating members who were kicked from forums, etc. I left for good in 2003. Others left as well, and I can tell you for a fact that your would-be contributors were scared away after witnessing these antics that were occurring. And I had that in the big gray box there. I feel people are unfairly associating the folks who contributed to the early days of the Sonic ROM hacking community with the dingbats that made the community unpleasant. It's unfair to the people who made the contributions in the early days, no matter how big or small they were. The site was shut down for some time, but eventually handed over to Stryker and reopened. You here, Ken? He's not here? I got a free ticket. No way. So why would anyone tolerate their bad behavior? Well, notoriety, number one. Making such a discovery or uncovering secret insider information can lead to notoriety, but such information can be hard to obtain, and new discoveries can be far and few in between. Some community members were willing to dismiss morally questionable behavior to anyone that could produce new information, sadly. Second point is social approval. Some people would enact questionable behavior to gain social approval of problematic members. Some were bullied or coerced, which oddly enough remains a problem in the tech industry to this day, preventing talent from entering the industry. And some did it out of boredom, which goes to show you their character. Now, would you risk your safety and dignity to gain the approval of people you don't even know? Probably not, but some would. Like that graphic there. Rare Sonic 1 beta cart inside. Just hop on in. Has sprites of Sonic wearing goggles.
Or just his eyes.
I feel sorry for this guy. He's a stock footage of like sleazy salesman, and he's probably on like everyone's presentation of like, I need someone like I need a sleazy salesman. Oh, this guy. And this guy's probably walking down the street saying, I don't trust you. Get away from me. And it's like, no, it's just a lie. I just did this. It's a photo shoot. They paid me $50. I didn't think it'd lead to all these problems for me. So, anyways, that was a tangent there. So the dark side of the Sonic community. So don't get me wrong, the Sonic community has good and talented people who are doing cool and innovative things. But unfortunately, the community is also frequented by people whom you don't want to associate with. And for a reason, they seem to come out of the woodwork wherever I appear. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyways, so my advice: be careful with your personal information when interacting with any folks on there, and use an alias, not your real name. It's not recommended for anyone under the age of 18, or just try another community, sadly. So, the legacy. So, what kind of legacy did SSRG leave behind? What mark did it leave in the gaming community at large? Well, for one, it inspired future websites that followed and improved upon the model that SSRG established, such as Secrets of Sonic Team and Sonic Retro. Yay. That's right. Gaming secrets is still a popular topic, and new discoveries are still being uncovered, such as a Sonic 1 beta cartridge found in the UK.
You found it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on New Year's, Hidden Palace made like a huge announcement saying, hey, we got a big announcement, tune in on Twitch. And they revealed it was a Sonic 1 prototype from the UK.
Yep. Wow. That guy found it with a box of other games he bought on eBay. He popped it, he's like, oh, it's just Sonic 1. He's like, wait, why is there a ball here?
Why is the traditional Sega logo not the Sega, but it's just a black screen with Sega text?
There's little hints here and there.
I remember when the Sonic 3 prototype was revealed, that shocked everybody.
Right. Yeah.
The music in that one is.
I don't know, I think that was after the whole. Well, no, the Sonic 3 prototype that came out, that was supposed to be like the actual game, or close to it.
Yeah.
What happened was the music in there, all that music was going to be used for that game, and then Michael Jackson stepped in. He was like, I want to make music for Sonic 3. And then he stepped out, and
this whole scandal came out, and then said like, oh, he wants to leave, but he's doing this.
But he's doing our game. Oh.
But he's caught in this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing he leaves.
So I guess all the music that's in the prototype was going to be used in the final game, and that didn't happen. And then they all popped up in Sonic Knuckles Collection on PC several years later.
Which is
Use Kega Fusion, right? That collection on PC.
Yeah. All the music that's in that collection was originally going to be in Sonic 3 before Michael Jackson stepped in and
People
tried
thought
to
it was
compose
replacement music, it was the other way around.
Yeah, it was the other way around. Yeah.
Yes.
So the tracks still ended up being used, just in a different area.
Right.
All right.
Safe to say the Sonic music community changed after that day.
Yeah.
where was I? Number one? All right, I did number one. Number two, we talked about that. Three, a vibrant. So another legacy was a vibrant Sonic fan game and ROM hacking community. They are still kicking and thriving to this day. Sage is still held yearly, and they even raise money for charity, which I think is pretty cool. And there's something called the Sonic Hacking Competition, or SHC, that's run by Sonic Retro. You can see him for more information about that. It's like Sage, but for ROM hacks.
Yeah, mostly for ROM hacking.
And is Lance here?
Lance is not here.
Oh, he's
I think he's
supposed
downstairs.
Yeah, he was supposed to hear. Yeah, he has like he has that new one, that ROM hack, Blastless. It's supposed to be downstairs.
Oh, Sonic 1 Blastless,
Yeah, it's downstairs.
Oh.
Running.
What? I'll ask him
He
about
was
that.
supposed to put it down there.
I'll ask him about that.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. They're selling the ROM hacks with cases downstairs.
Yes, I saw that table there.
We didn't know about that.
Sonic the Lost Worlds
Yeah.
as a Sega Genesis version, yeah. And big thing here is the period there, which I ran SSRG, is still regarded as the golden age of Sonic ROM hacking. And people will still commonly refer to it as that. All right. And, oops. And various members in the community went on to the game industry. So Stealth and Taxman, they famously went on to develop Sonic Mania. Jared Kazel, he was a level designer for Sonic Mania. He got his start doing levels for fan games and Sonic Fan Games HQ. And speaking of Sonic Fan Games HQ, Ryan Langley, he's in the industry right now. He's working for Half Brick and worked for Half Brick, and now he's working for Peak Poke. And there's others, but they want to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to say their names.
You know what's funny? It actually goes the same for like fan art as well, because there's a lot of them that start out as fan artists that are then going on to more work. I've actually hired one actually basically for my own project. So
Yeah, they get the exposure, they start publishing it, they get name recognition, and then people say, oh, people know your work, let's put you on full time. You're a proven commodity at that point, so it's less risky for a company to grab you.
Remember when they used the fan art for Sonic and All-Stars Racing? So somebody with, so apparently the story goes to this. What was it called? Casino, the casino level, I'll just call it that.
Casino Park.
Thank you, Casino Park. Yeah, so that one, in one of the slot machines, the texture was supposed to be Amy, but instead they used fan art of Sonia from Sonic Underground. So Sega had to come up with like an apology. It's like, sorry, we were using that as like a placeholder. Apparently one of our own developers doesn't know who Amy looks like, so they used Sonia. But funnily enough, because the Wii is the Wii, that never got patched out, so that stayed, so that stuck in there. Funnily enough, I think the fan artist wasn't even that mad. She was like, oh, I'm in a game now.
Be sure to credit me in the credits. You can keep just credit me. And next slide, please. Final slide. All right. And so what happened to that bet I mentioned earlier? So Dan Chandler, he created a website called the Waste of Bandwidth page, which was a page that had like 4 Java applets that just loaded a lot of graphics and just wasted your bandwidth. Mike, he had a website that was so bad his ISP deleted it. Tom, he started TC Technologies. Now he's running INE Media. I can't pronounce that, Tom, sorry. And he's still doing website design. And me, I retired from Emulation Zone in 2006. Then I started playing softball and started this website versussoftball.com, which was, oddly enough, it was featured in the Wall Street Journal, so July 2nd, 2014. I should have brought like a copy of that here. But, and I guess I was going to say, yeah, well, you know our stories, but I think the competition's still going, so. Damn you, Tom, I'm going to get you one day.
He's on the camera.
He's not really here. He's out. I think he's in Florida or North Carolina. But I'm going to show him the recording. So, speaking of recordings, cameras doing. Since this is the end of my talk, we can do one favor. My girlfriend couldn't make it here, so you can just look at one of the cameras, wave, and just say hi, Ellen, for me. Thanks. I'm sure she's going to appreciate it. Yeah, that's my talk. Any questions? We have 10 minutes for the next panel. Yes,
So,
Diana Man.
since the upcoming Sonic Origins collection coming up soon,
Yeah.
what will be the regards to Sonic 3 and Knuckles?
What was what? Sonic?
How would Sonic 3 and Knuckles work, since we're finally going to have basically Sonic 3 again in the mainstream to play?
It'll probably be built from the ground up like Sonic 1 and 2.
Yeah, like through the widescreen, everything,
Here's the
music,
source code.
all that stuff.
I mean, worst case scenario, Sega will probably just use music from the prototype, just so they don't have to deal with Michael Jackson's lawyers.
That's probably a good point there.
Yeah.
Okay, there was another question. Yeah, I'll get to you later. You had a question? Yeah.
I was wondering, like, what was the experience like for you when Sega stepped in and started, like, embracing the ROM hacking scene to develop Sonic Mania?
I mean, before Sonic Mania? Like the
Or
90s?
like leading up to Sonic Mania, when it became apparent that Sega cared.
Oh,
in a good way.
Yeah, internally, I talked to people, they said, publicly, we despise emulation, but internally, they're like, hey, people are still playing our games. That's a good thing for us. So they were walking a tight line there. They wanted to keep the company afloat, keep people remember the game, keep remember the legacy, but they don't want to piss off fans. So, you had a question.
What was the reaction to Sonic Jam at the time? Because that was the first officially released emulation available after the official games had come out a couple times.
That's not really emulation though. They remade those games for a Jam.
I ignored that.
They literally just ported them to the Saturn.
Not entirely. They remade them, especially because they have difficulty levels. Easy. They remade the whole game to make it easier. So yeah, they're not emulation. They're all remakes.
And then they sold emulation things twice. They made the Sonic Classics collection on the DS, which used an emulator, and they also made the PC compilation, which used Kega Fusion.
Yeah, both of those use emulators.
Yes.
Obviously for Jam, that was all remade.
Okay, thanks for correcting me on that.
Yeah.
All right, question.
So during the whole scene where you're trying to figure out the ROM will work on the PC, have you ever tried looking at that Sega Genesis PC that they made? Were you ever curious about that?
Are you talking about the one that
The
was?
Terra Drive, I think he's talking about.
that thing.
Is that the one where it?
It's like half Sega Genesis, but then you gotta flip a switch and then it goes like a PC mode.
Yeah,
But they didn't advertise it like that. They made it think like it was one and the same.
They advertised it like it was an educational PC.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, but
No, it's not the Pico. Pico was just...
no, that wasn't.
No, it was legit. It was legit a computer that was both Sega Genesis and a regular Windows PC.
Yeah, you flip the switch and it output it to the same monitor that you had for
Yeah.
the PC, I
Right,
believe.
share the peripherals, it's legit, but it may not have been sold in North America.
No, it was only sold in Japan.
Yeah, it wasn't in America.
Yeah.
This is what it looked like.
It had a cartridge slot for the Sega.
Yep.
The Sega Genesis.
I saw one on eBay a few years back.
Yeah.
It was going for like $1,000.
Yeah, thanks. I remember that, but I didn't that didn't cross my mind. I was thinking at the time, well, obviously, what could I get access to? And it was just PCs, so stuff
Yeah, I
like
was
that.
imagining if I was in your situation, I saw that oh my god, this is
Oh my-
a missing link.
That's a good question. If I saw that, it would flip my mind. I'm like, oh man, how do they do this? But
Going out of your way to import it just to.
yeah, if I knew about it, I didn't even
Yeah.
know about it. It was the 90s. We didn't have that much information. And plus imports and stuff like that.
What a game changer.
Yeah, that would have been maybe I would have gotten to an emulation. It's also oh, screw this. I'll just get one of these and. But then I wouldn't be able to hack ROMs on that. Yeah, so. All right, cool. Any other questions? You had a question, yes.
Well, on the topic of Japanese and obscure things, did you ever have contact with Sega Japan or Japanese hackers or the Japanese ROMs? Was it pretty much, were you to focus on the Western effort or was it a separate effort in Japan?
So, so did Sega Japan, Sega America I spoke to people, but Sega in Japan, I didn't have any contact with. I mean, there are people in the community who have done interviews with people in Sega Japan. I don't remember what they said. I know they asked someone there about what do they think about us finding all the secrets. They said that's great, but I guess the reaction was, can you not stop doing it, but do other things with your time? I guess was there. So I was like, no, this is fun.
I mean, a lot of the people that worked on the Sonic games know that we exist.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Forces has to create a character thing.
Well, I would say that's also why Mania exists as a whole. Because
Yeah,
of us.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
The best part of Forces was the custom character. The only good part. Yeah, that's the only good thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that game, Sonic Forces, has possibly the worst level design of any game in history. I mean, it had like a year and a half of development. I don't understand what's wrong with that game, but it's gotta be the worst levels I've ever seen.
It's because I have 3 of them, and 2 of them were new to the team.
It was just a bad game.
Yeah, they're trying to do something new.
When you ran Emulation Zone, did you ever get any companies that told you to take down the emulators?
I got a letter from Nintendo for a fan game about a Nintendo fan game, ironically. No one ever complained about I mean,
Nintendo's still doing that to this day.
yeah. So,
Yeah, freaking the Smash community is freaking getting dogged by Nintendo so much,
Don't
so.
get me started.
yeah. Yeah. I've never, like, they never, I mean, I've had a positive reaction with Sega. I've talked to people, you know, other developers for other companies that worked with Sega. You know, that's as far as I'll go on that tangent there. Yes?
So did you go like heavily into the editing of the ROM files, so like to create your own custom?
For me, yeah, the most I did was the big hack was Sonic and Knuckles with Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. I was actually, so I figured out Sonic 2 and Sonic and Knuckles pretty early. Sonic and 2, there was another ROM inside the cartridge. You had to do some dancing to get it. If you want to use a ROM copy, you had to do a little dance to get it to select that chip so you can read the contents of that chip. And I had help from someone, who I won't say his real name, gave me assistance on that. And he wanted to just give the information and walk away. And I said, hold on a second. You know, this is SSRG. We want to know, you know, what'd you do here? So I documented that, and I added that to the Sonic and Knuckles lock-on guide, and that explains how to do, how to dump the other ROM image, and obviously how to merge it together properly. But I didn't do much. I didn't get into debugging, so I didn't find addresses for things like, oh, this is where you can find the level 1 data, etc. And there was a lot of people helping out at that time. So someone would find like, oh, this is where you can find the level data. Someone else would say, oh, okay, then this is how it's packaged, so we can make our own levels. And then like someone like Gerbil would take that information and he made that science, the hacking pro whiz utility. So,
Yeah.
and that was and that's basically that was the whole point. It was a community effort. Small contributions led to something bigger. That's what happened.
I don't know if it was your website, but I remember back in the day, this is like before Google and like asked you, but I remember I found a website that showed you how to combine the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 ROM card with Knuckles.
Yeah.
So you can actually get like the individual like different versions out of them. And you did that like all on like was it MS-DOS? You had to like
Yeah.
do the
Wasn't
script
that
and combine
also
those.
done here, Gerbil?
The hack.
That's what you're talking about. I recall for everybody because I used to do some.
Yeah, you have to use
Back in the day.
Yeah. No. What's his face? Yeah.
like
For PC, yeah. For PC, you can just use DOS, the copy command, copy/B binary. It's pretty simple. For Mac, I mean, you could use, well, maybe the newer, you know, Mac OS 10 X, you can use the command line, but back then I don't think you could have. And Sonic Blur, he wrote these, you know, can't see my cursor, but he wrote the Sonic Blur's Mac apps. So one of them was Nux Combine. That allowed you to combine the cartridges together properly. And there was like a few other things that, I mean, there was a few other things we had to squeak into the ROM image because some of the images that were distributed at the time were dirty and you had to clean them up. So, but yeah, question.
Before I go, there's a 6-part BBS documentary on YouTube. It's like 6 hours long, but it's like the most comprehensive history that
About-
ever exists.
Yeah, what's the name of it? Just BBS the.
Yeah, if you look for BBS documentary on
Okay.
YouTube, it's like you just kind of gotta leave it on the background. You can't watch the whole thing through.
Okay. Yeah, there's one about the ASCII graphics that people did back then. That was a really good one. I forgot where I found that one. That one's really good. It's about 40 minutes. So, all right, we're over time, over budget. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate it. Pretty good turnout. That's actually more than I thought.